For May the 5th, 2017, we talk about Minecraft Education Edition, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we ask you which object from a game you would most like to have in real life. Welcome to Level 195. My name is Cole Ross.
My name's David Mysmith.
I'm Jala Prendez.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Here we are, Level 195. We are a very short time away from the good old 200, which is strange and bizarre to think about, but true.
Yeah, I know. It feels like it was just the other day that we recorded with all of us on level 100.
Yep. And the night was unending. That was I think that might have been our longest episode to date outside of like particular bonus level kind of things. Yeah.
But unlike people, it seems like we've been crotchety the entire time. Not that we've grown more crotchetier.
Oh yeah, I mean we've always been a little cranky, but that's fine. That is a-okay. Yeah, I don't know. So in terms of banter stuff, I got to go to a city I've never been to. And see a live podcast that I've been listening to for several years. So I went with my brother Chris from those Damn Ross Kids, and we drove to Pittsburgh to see a podcast called Yeah Dude do a live show, which was a lot of fun. It was like an overnight trip, and yeah, it was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know that that isn't relevant to like anything that's going on the network, or it doesn't have a
you, show. So it's relevant to us.
Yeah, there's nothing that I ever say that's ever relevant to anything. So, I mean, like, what's my banter? I did my superhero run, so thank you again for everybody who donated. And I also did the Wine and Roses half marathon at a winery the next day, and I couldn't feel my arms for half of the race because I have spinal stenosis and there was a front that came through, and I had to dial it back, really, really, a lot. And then I ended up getting deathly ill from the drastic change in temperature because we started and it was 47 degrees. And so I got deathly ill because it was 47 degrees when we started the race, and then it was 80 degrees when we finished the race. So I was bedridden all week long, and then I had to get up, scrape myself out of bed after being comatose for like 12 hours a day, every day of the week, to do a belly dance performance at the end of the week. And by the time this comes out, I will have done a second belly dance performance at the Houston Oriental and Folklore Dance Festival. So
wow.
I've been having a different type of marathon recently.
Yeah.
Were people just shedding their clothes during the marathon? Like start off with layers and then end with
To be fair, that the race took place on a spaceship that took off from the South Pole and flew directly into the sun.
That's a long spaceship too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my news. I was dying last week when you guys were recording, which is why I was not here. I was passed out.
Yeah.
And like otherwise I was dead other than the times that I was up doing intense physical activity.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. Yeesh. Yeah. Ben, how about you? How was your week this past week?
I went to a city that I've been to many times before, where I came back to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that sucked. The way that it worked out. I wasn't around for it.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it was like Christmas but condensed, where I have to try and see everybody and make sure everyone's doing well. And it was nice. Yeah. And I got to surprise. I went in town for my mom's birthday, so I was able to surprise her. She did not know I was coming in, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And and I got this random text from you where you're like, I'm in Houston at the airport waving goodbye.
Yeah. I ended up flying through Houston, and there are a lot of people who wear baseball caps in Houston, is what I've noticed, judging solely from the airport. I don't know if that rings true in the rest of the city or not, but
I think so.
I have no idea. But yeah, I had a good time. It was nice. I'm happy to be home though, where I can sleep a full night's sleep now. So
yeah,
that's good. What were you doing over there? Waking up in the middle of the night and doing laps?
Yeah,
I mean,
just like staying out late and waking up early and.
Gotcha.
Probably a fair amount of bevving.
Partying hard. Yeah.
A lot of like when push comes to shove, sleep is the thing that gets thrown out in terms of like time optimizations.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I can see that. Huh. Well, it's cool that you had a good time, and yeah. So we'll try and work it out for Christmas. We'll be around. Yeah,
we usually do.
Yeah. David, how about you? What you been up to?
Just more job looking.
Get any bites?
I got nothing. Actually, no. I had a martial arts seminar over the weekend. So I did some small axe and some Chris knife work, and actually learned some Silat Tumoi, which is basically the Malaysia's ancestor art to Muay Thai, which was kind of cool.
Cool.
So it's awesome. Basically militarized Muay Thai, which it was interesting. So it was a good time.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Was that like in Columbus or something, or?
That was in Cincinnati. So it was kind of funny because it was literally I found out about it the day before. Figured out that I could get could afford to go I don't know half an hour before I needed to leave, and it was an event. I ended up actually crashing at Dennis's place while I was out.
Oh yeah.
Which was interesting because his
Did you have to watch his kids?
Well, no, no, because they're on vacation, so his cats were very, very happy to have a human there. So needless to say, I did not get much sleep.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
I
think my favorite was after feeding time, the cat goes and eats its food and then comes and just stares at me. Seriously, more.
So, yeah.
So here we are.
Oh, man. Cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like we've all had productive weeks at the very least.
We all did things.
Yeah, we all did stuff. Look at us. Look at us. There is.
Did any of us play video games, or?
Yes, I did.
Right.
When I was in
good.
bed and not dying, yes, I did. Well,
yeah. There is some network stuff going on. So this is coming out a day after we released the big announcement about the future of Watch Out for Fireballs and Bonfireside Chat. So go to Duckfeed.tv and check out the banner there. I'm not sure exactly what the URL is just yet, where that's going to go. But we made an announcement about Bonfireside Chat ending in August and taking Watch Out for Fireballs to a weekly format. So
cool. One door shuts, another window opens, sort of deal.
Another window that was open opens up a little bit more,
and then defenestration.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's refenestration because everybody just goes through it. You just jump into the window because
is refenestration when you throw somebody out again, or is that re-defenestration?
Yeah, I think you have to throw them in through the window.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless of which flavor of fenestration this is, no. It's actually really exciting. There's some other stuff that is changing alongside that, but that is something that people may be curious to know. And if you're like, wait a minute, what? I'm so confused. Everything is up in the air. Go and check out the post for that. And there's also an audio discussion between me and Gary making these announcements on the Watch Out for Fireballs feed. It is a decision that we both feel very good about, and we are incredibly excited for what this means. Yeah.
Yay!
Cool.
Yeah, so that doesn't relate to this show. This show is not going to change. So we might as well just go ahead and do this show, right? doing the usual thing, the brief, the multiplayer, and the grind. And we're going to get started with The Brief, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games around us. Let's see here. Ben, I want to hear what you have first.
Yeah. As typical, I have a shorter story, but it's about Minecraft, something that I know little to nothing about since I've never played it. But recently they added an expansion, education edition of Minecraft, that teaches kids how to program within the game. So the name of the feature that they have in it is called Code Builder, and it takes its form in the game in the form of a robot. But I think it's using code blocks or something similar. There's like a GUI that you can use to make a program, and then the robot in the game will execute the program. So like you can teach it to do things like build walls of a house or build fences, which would kind of make sense. Like that was something that can be programmable.
Mm-hmm.
And they've even opened it up so that you can program directly into the language if you know JavaScript.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I saw this headline, I was worried that it was going to be, hey kids, make a Turing-complete computer out of redstone, because fuck that.
I don't know.
Not like that. Even though
it's
that is cool.
Yeah. It's interesting, but it's like how might it, but no, actually having you move this thing around like he's the logo turtle is good and is cool and good.
Yeah, actually makes it fun.
I'd be interested to know, I wonder if there's any studies or anything. Does this sort of thing actually have carryover to programming?
I think definitely the conceptual ideas can help, because you're literally making like for loops in this code as well.
Yeah.
So
okay, even with the visual, because I know the theory I've seen is that a lot of learning programming is basically learning to think abstractly.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like, variables and things like that are actually in a lot of ways, the most important part of whether or not you can program.
Okay. All right.
But I haven't looked at it. I'm not saying it does. It's just I wonder, is this part of a educational initiative? Are they partnering with anyone, or is this kind of just something someone built?
It's the education edition of Minecraft, the latest expansion.
Yeah.
It's in beta right now.
The goal doesn't seem to be like, hey, you're going to come out of this being able to program a module that calculates when you need bread and eggs. It seems like it is just to literally teach very basic programming logic.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
I guess what I was saying more is there's a lot of suggestion that basically a lot of programming is learning to make the mental shift of dealing with data abstractly, in the same way of how a child at some point has to make the mental shift that when I close my eyes, mom and dad don't disappear.
It might also be the, kind of an inelegance of terms, because this might be more accurately described as scripting as opposed to programming.
Sure. I guess what I'm just saying is it would be interesting to see, theoretically, if this could allow people to make that mental shift, then there should be a lot of carryover to programming, even if it's not actually teaching you. So I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see real programming.
I think Minecraft Bootcamp Edition's still in alpha, but
I have no idea if what I said makes sense. But.
Yeah, I'm having trouble following you, but I think that's more on me than you.
I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying too. So it's just Kole.
Yep. It's it's similar with math is my frame of reference. You can teach people and they can memorize formulas, but they might not be able to problem solve.
Right. And I feel like the other way around is theoretically, if you could teach people to problem solve, even if they I don't know, I can never parse set notation, but presumably I know enough other math that if I really wanted to, I could learn it. You know kind of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think that I mean, everybody, like, there's been so much work done on this, and just what I'm about to say is painfully obvious, so forgive me if I'm just getting up here and saying, hey, music is good, but like literally making this
music too.
making this a GUI introduction to programming thing, that seems like the way to do it. That's part of the way that I learned, was, you know, by learning the logic of programming as opposed to, you know, getting into any particular language, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I quote
that's
unquote
a good way to
learned,
say it.
You know, I never actually learned to code, but like in my education, you know, of like 1 year of computer science and saying not later, like that was the way to do it, was, you know, with like nodes and GUIs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
That's
interesting.
really cool.
I'm kind of curious to see how it plays out. You know, and if this does get into schools, what'll probably happen is like, hey, there's Minecraft in schools and nobody actually uses it for the coding. Like, it is literally just like when we were in elementary school and we went to the computer lab and did like 5 minutes of typing and then just play Pac-Man on the Apple IIs.
True.
Or just play games on your graphing calculator.
I feel like I probably learned something from Oregon Trail.
It's explicitly an educational game, but
I feel like I learned more about World War II from playing Medal of Honor than I did in my class, to some extent, because you learn all the guns, you learn a lot of the important settings, you learn a lot of the things they used at the time.
Yeah, that's weird. Speaking, I mean, it's not speaking of anything. I was about to say, speaking of World War II.
Because I'm unrelated to anything.
No,
so, like...
no. Sorry, I was trying to segue, and I realized the segue didn't make any sense at all.
There is no segue.
World War II is a hard segue.
Yeah, really.
it's fine. So anyway, I have a couple of articles, and they're both pretty brief. So, one of them is about the Tribeca Film Festival holding its first ever gaming event. Hideo Kojima made an appearance as a keynote speaker. There was a compare and contrast session with Kevin Levine, the writer-director of BioShock, and action movie director Doug Liman from the Bourne movies. And they were talking about, you know, the differences between film versus game. And that was a thing that happened. There was, you know, a film festival held a game-centered, game-focused event, and then also esports is to be included in the 2022 Asian Games in China. The Olympic Council of Asia said it wanted to reflect the rapid development and popularity of this new form of sports participation, and it will also appear in this year's Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games. Also, along with FIFA 2017, participants will also be playing MOBAs and RTAs. And esports in general generated nearly $500 million in revenue in 2016 with a global audience of about 320 million people. So they are just kind of responding to what they're seeing there with the growth in the numbers. And both of those stories are pretty much about, you know, games becoming a little bit higher profile, you know, like being up, you know, knocked up there to where the esports are now going to be included in, you know, other types of sporting events, and film festivals are now including some game stuff. So
I feel like this is just failing to, I don't know, understand language, in that I know esports aren't sports in the way that they're talking about. Like that it would be like saying, well, MacBooks are called books, therefore we should put them in libraries. It's like, no, there's an analogy that they have some some similarity in that they're both, you know, competitive events, you know, done for recreation, stuff like that. But sports means physical exertion, physicality is an innate part of sports in the way that the, say, Olympics is talking.
Yeah.
Which, that's not to say there's anything wrong with esports, but that's just, in the same way that not putting MacBooks in a library doesn't mean there's anything wrong with MacBooks.
it's kind of like playing chess is, not a sport, but at the same time, like that's another thing where it's a game, people playing a game. But
I was actually going to raise that same comparison, because there has been this kind of constant push to have chess added,
and that is equally idiotic.
Right, but it's like it feels like a subset of that same kind of question. They're also like saying like, hey, we should have like maybe bridge in here. I feel like we've kind of had this discussion a lot, several times over the past run of the show, just about what is the difference between a game and a sport.
Where do we come down on chess boxing?
Wait, chess boxing, is that a thing, or was that a joke?
Yes,
that's a thing.
That is actually a thing.
God. Yeah. So this will make it a lot harder, or maybe easier. Who knows? It obviates that easy and possibly kind of insulting joke about StarCraft being the national sport of Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is.
I mean,
interesting fact: the actual national sport of Korea is Taekwondo.
It feels like a similar kind of strange, not mangling, but stretching of terms to have game stuff included in a film festival, though, as well. Like the people that they got involved in that, Hideo Kojima and Ken Levine, both of them are concerned themselves primarily with narrative through games, but like it's also, like those are kind of different things. I think maybe the only person who would maybe fit in there is David Cage.
Well, when Kojima was talking, apparently most of what he was talking about was how much, when he was a kid, he wanted to be a film director.
Yep.
So like he didn't even really talk so much about the game part of it, so much as wanting to be a film director as a child. So
yeah.
I feel like there could be. I feel like that one could be weird, because I feel like there's very interesting and relevant things you could talk about in terms of, like, oh, here's how these like film techniques inspired me to do these like, similar techniques in a game, or, games taking inspiration from films, or how they're different, all these sorts of things. While at the same time, I feel like the one thing that would be maybe not so useful to talk about would be to try to make a direct comparison between films and games.
Yeah.
Which I know. I mean,
or to get up there, like, like at a festival like Tribeca and present something from a game as though it is film.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Which admittedly, that's not what they're trying to do. The Tribeca Film Festival is bigger than just exhibitions of complete works. Like, they are, just kind of adding this to the conversation. It sounds like it was like a panel more than anything.
Yeah. It basically, from what I see, it was just speakers talking about, doing the directing work and the narrative work in games versus how that's different from movies and that kind of a thing. And then, of course, Kojima just doing whatever he wants because he's Kojima.
Yeah.
And not to be, I don't at all mean this to be snarky, but I also feel like we're kind of early enough in this whole, like, I don't know, video games is art, video games important thing, that, like, even if you did, something like, went and displayed this game as though it were film, like, I feel like we're still at the legitimately, like, let's try stupid stuff stage, because we haven't really done, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, this goes back a little bit at the very least. So I want to make sure I get this guy's name right. The creator of Oddworld. I believe Lorne Lanning. There we go. He took some of the CGI cutscenes from the first two Oddworld games, Odyssey and Exodus, and like stitched them together into a linear narrative and presented those, and like it entered them. I think they were nominated for some kind of CGI or animation Oscar at some point. And that kind of blurs the lines. I'm only going to speak personally here. I am not very interested in having, and I don't have any stake in having games like gain purchase in either of these realms. I also do not have a tremendous amount of interest in a debate that a lot of people really seem to be crazy about having, which is the games as art thing. Like, can they be our games art? I don't know. Can they be? Probably. That isn't an interesting conversation to have. I think that, counter to what you just said, David, I don't think you were being snarky at all. This could probably sound snarky. I don't know that we are as adolescent as I don't think that games as a whole are as adolescent as sometimes we say that they are, because it doesn't have to be so insecure as to hitch itself to another medium or another kind of like realm in order to gain any kind of legitimacy.
I guess
I don't want to, I think the sooner that we get rid of the having a chip on our shoulder and seeking approval from older industries, the better it will be, or at least the more secure we will feel.
Yeah, I guess maybe where I was coming at is I definitely agree with you, and I think that's the way it actually is. I guess sort of what I was meaning more is presumably at some point in its development, film did this, and TV did this, and stuff like that. And so I feel like it's perfectly reasonable if someone did something that was kind of weird like that. All right, people are still kind of figuring out what do we do with this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, what? What?
Yeah.
So I like the film festival. Okay, I can see that, because that's just talking about the cinematic, the narrative aspects of it. So I mean that was just like, oh, okay, well that's kind of cool. That might be an interesting discussion to attend.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. But then the other one, I'm like, what? What do you mean?
To be fair, though.
Okay, well, I mean, I understand it's because they're gauging it in terms of the revenue and the viewership or whatever, and therefore this, just like people watching sports on TV, except the thing is that the people are not themselves doing it; they are controlling a character with their hands, and that's how they're doing it. They're still employing tactics and doing things like against opponents and whatnot. So I mean, there's all those elements, but then again, there's all those elements in chess. So I mean, it's the same. We're back to the same square on that, but it's not a sport. No.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. It's not classified in the same category.
No. It's also, maybe this lacks a little bit of punch because even the leagues for a lot of these for a lot of these games that are that make the circuit on esports, what have you, man, it is very hard to talk about this precisely. A lot of these games and the leagues that run with them are already international, right? So
sure.
the Olympics or these Asian games, this is the first time that I'm hearing about the Asian games. Looking at that, competing on an international level there, that is something special in a lot of these sports, and baseball and soccer and any number of things. Whereas that's already happening. A lot of these big leagues are already international, so it's hard to look at that as a thing of national pride as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like this actually probably supports what you're saying, but yeah, I know the Asian games are a semi big deal in martial arts, particularly the ones that don't have professional equivalents.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
As a side note, though, any opportunity to just have Kojima just talk about random things, someone needs to get him a YouTube channel or something.
His Twitter's kind of a trip.
Is it? Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, because just any time I've heard him explain anything, it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. His Twitter is great because it demonstrates the wide variety of his interests.
Sure.
I always dig when somebody creative who I respect, because I haven't turned on Kojima. Kind of demonstrates wow, you're interested in and curious about a lot of different stuff. So yeah, he's always a trip to see speak. Yeah. David, tell me about this, about the story from Ars Technica.
Sure.
I don't know why I said that like Yogi Bear.
Real quick, I want to do just like a 3-minute additional news story.
Okay.
Just I was scrolling across it. Apparently, things have been coming out that apparently, in terms of like work culture and stuff, Uber is awful, and the CEO maybe is awful. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think there's video evidence of that. But yeah.
I'm still looking for a job in the tech industry. I will be diplomatic. But apparently in the New York Times profile, in addition to actually talking about useful things, they also had the line that, quote, in other personal pursuits, he once held the world's second highest score for the Nintendo Wii Tennis video game.
Oh, weak.
So just, that's a thing.
Gross.
More not just completely random and kind of silly is apparently one of the early developers for Kirby's Dream Land. Actually, if I'm understanding correctly, I think the primary programmer for it.
Yeah, Masahiro Sakurai.
Right. Programmed the entire game without a keyboard using a Famicom, which I think is an SNES.
No, Famicom is the Japanese equivalent to the NES.
Okay, using an NES and a trackpad or trackball. Mm-hmm. So just by literally like selecting on a on-screen keyboard to play the game. Or rather, to program the game.
Right. So typing with an on-screen keyboard using a trackpad a trackball that leads into a Famicom.
This makes me really sad.
Yeah, and so he was apparently he explained this while doing kind of not keynote's not the right word, the whatever the speech equivalent of like that forward section in a book.
Probably like a post-mortem.
Yeah. For I believe it was a Japanese like symphony. Am I tripping out? That was doing like video game music or something.
Maybe. Yeah, ahead of a Japanese orchestral performance celebrating the 25th anniversary of Kirby's Dream Land. Yeah.
Yes. And apparently he said that at the time, like this was just like how he had done it. So he had no idea, like had no concept at that point that this was like a really strange idea. And also has, I think, one of my favorite quotes, he described it as like using a lunchbox to make lunch.
Well, I mean, so he's programming that onto a Famicom. There are lots of similarities between the Famicom and the Game Boy, or the NES and Game Boy. So yeah, it very much is kind of similar to that. I'm more curious about the hardware because I had no idea that you could do any kind of programming into or onto a Famicom like that. Yeah,
that would be interesting to see. Like, what I'm wondering is when he got done every day, did he have to like hold and reset while he powered it down in order to keep from losing his work?
I think that was a quirk just for the NES. I don't think that the Famicom's actually got the power surge from just cutting the power over there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I totally just actually your joke, but I'm. Sorry,
but no problem. He one thing he did say is that one advantage of it was that all of the like optimizations and stuff like that he had to do to basically make programming this viable and be as efficient as possible in how he programmed led to the game being like as he said having super smooth movement for a Game Boy game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's I don't know. I guess the next time you're programming and you're pissed that the company did not okay your request for upgraded computer, keep in mind it could be worse.
Possible does not mean optimal. Yeah.
Oh, he also apparently had the game took up 512 kilobytes of space, which he described as less than a pixel's worth of data in a game like Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And it also oh wait, no, this is a comment. I thought he was making a statement about this, that like at least it wasn't punch cards. But no, this is a comment on the Ars article. Okay. Whoops, maybe they should differentiate those more.
Yeah, I know one of my professors in my undergrad worked on like spy satellites during the Cold War, and this was back when computers took up an entire room. And apparently, after the physicists who were working on the hydrogen bomb left for the day, they'd load up punch cards to basically play Pong on the wall size banks of lights on the side of the machine.
Oh man,
which I don't know, that just seems how you get that's how war games happens.
Just all of a sudden gigantic boulders rolling across the nation. No, not like this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Please don't give Adam Sandler any ideas.
Oh God. See, I thought I could have one lighthearted goof without Adam Sandler coming up.
So sorry,
Ben. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I had no idea that is what he went through to do that, and I may fire up an emulator with that on it in his honor. Man, 25 years. Anyway, looking at this, let me see here. I've got my story. This is just some quick follow-up to a story that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago around the time of the launch of Persona 5, when Atlus came forward and said, hey, we have some guidelines for you in regards to streaming and video content, and laid down the law for paying customers, much in the same way they would lay down the law for, say, people who got early review copies of the game, right? Saying, hey, limit your shit to this length, and we're going to disable the sharing button on the PS4. Do not stream past July the 7th within the game, including the admonition, I highly recommend not doing this, you have been warned. And they were surprised when people didn't take this very well. And so they have actually issued a statement in order to say, hey, we are relaxing this. You can now stream everything up to November the 19th, which is the last day before the main story kind of gears up for its final act. Saying, we still want to protect people from spoilers, but, we're going to relax this here. The share button on PS4, still not functional, and I believe that some of the length requirements are still in place, but they are at least relaxing it that much. So yeah, I just wanted to not correct it, but update it, because this is still an ongoing conversation about what kind of say a developer or publisher has in the way people decide to stream things.
I believe it's none, legally. So I'm not sure how this is flying. So I had a conversation about this with we can say our legal representation, maybe. I don't know, somebody we know who's a lawyer.
Okay.
But or at least two of us know. But it was said that whenever you stream something, you're creating your own content, and so that's kind of independent of what the game's providing. And also whenever you buy a game, you own the rights to whatever's created as you play it. They own the rights for the software and things like that, but basically once it's sold, that's kind of yours. So
yeah.
Although I do feel granted, I'm not saying they should restrict this. I mean, if nothing else, it's just a losing battle. But I can sort of see how a Let's Play where you just play straight through the game is a little different than, I don't know, like a rap song, sampling music or something like that.
Yeah. This was a big thing with That Dragon Cancer. Those developers who we've spoken with, and they were, I think, one of our first interviews that we did. There was a little bit of a dust up around the time of that game's release, where they got very salty about people streaming that game in its entirety, basically saying, this is a game that is meant to be played, but it can be presented, the entire story, all of the or the bulk of the emotional content of this can be gotten by somebody watching it, and we don't get to see anything off of the back of that. Sure. With Persona 5, it's a little bit strange because that is a 100-hour game.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's really weird because somebody playing a game and commenting over it in full feels a little bit different than maybe what Atlus or Sega are really, really sensitive about, which is somebody cutting all of the cutscenes out of this and then uploading them wholesale to YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and then monetization and content claims are an entirely different thing. This is literally them saying the recourse that they would have would be to file enough of a claim that you would get a strike on your account for YouTube or with or a similar kind of disciplinary measure with Twitch. Right,
which there's at least some argument that YouTube just rubber stamps all complaints. I don't know if that's true, but
pretty much everything is done automatically. I would back when I was streaming stuff regularly for Hexcrank, I would upload something, say from a Silent Hill game, and then 5 minutes later I would have monetization on it disabled because something scanned it and found visual content from Konami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then could you then contest that?
No. Because it's true. It's true. I had visual and audio content from Konami on there. So there were ads that ran up against it that that sent money to Konami itself. And they have technology that scans and screens every single thing, processes it, and checks it up against other stuff. That is one of the ways that Nintendo kind of shot themselves in the foot was by being incredibly incredibly heavy-handed with that.
Sure.
This section has gone on for a very long time. Do we have any other comments about this?
No.
The only other comment is have you seen the Cowboy Bebop overlay on the intro to Persona 5? It is quite possibly one of my favorite things in a long time.
Oh man, I can't wait until I have time to play Persona 5.
What is Persona 5? Because watching the intro makes it look like a game I would never want to play.
It's a Persona game. It's a JRPG about stylish kids in Tokyo.
Okay, so yeah.
So you probably wouldn't want to play
it. How do you even have a JRPG about is this like grinding on your math scores?
No, those are little events in between.
Well, kind of. Yeah. That's the thing that happens too.
What are kids in Tokyo doing that is JRPG?
They are venturing into a nightmare dungeon to recruit demons to fight to stop some creeping evil from taking over their town.
Okay, just throw it out there. I feel like you're a little bit burying the lead by describing this as stylish kids in Tokyo.
Well, it's both. By day, they're high school students, and by night, they venture into the nightmare realm and are guided around by a teddy bear or some other old man.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and you answer it. Jala, what is the question that you ask the nice people?
If you could have one physical object from a video game, what would it be and why? And thank you to Michael P. for the question.
Yeah. And I'll get us started with Sam, who says, a giant boot that I can ride around in, like in Super Mario Bros. 3 World 5-3. I think the reasoning is self-evident.
That answer made me so happy, and it was the first answer, and it was just the best. So thank you for that, Sam.
Well, you're trying to protect your feetsies from the nipper plants.
I love the giant boot.
And if you were Canadian, you could just make so many a boot puns.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yeah. All I can think of is like you would have the best chances of finding this as some kind of weird fetish shop. But I don't
know some places in San Francisco.
Yeah, why not? Ben, what does John say?
John says portal gun with some moon dust paint. Natch.
Yeah, the natch was his. You added that like it was yours, but yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I think you can get a prop portal gun.
Yeah, you can get a prop, but not a real one.
But again, burying the lead, I feel like the not making portals part.
It's a critical part of the enjoyment of the portal gun.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Okay, so you get the thing, but the rules from it apply. All right, yeah, I gotcha. Huh.
Well, you would need the boot, too. I think we talked about this kind of thing before.
You would need the portal gun with the boots in order to make sure you didn't break your legs.
Heel springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like those are implants, I think. I think that those are those are built into Chell. Huh.
Yeah.
David, what does Brandon say?
Brandon says Lincoln Clay's car from Mafia 3. It's just a real cool car. I can respect that.
Some cool stylish car from the 60s, I imagine.
I am looking it up now.
Yeah. He says Lincoln as though it is a Lincoln automobile.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Describe it. What is it?
Oh, no, that is actually a person, apparently. Despite sounding like a car. Yeah, so it's like a fastback, looks like two-seater, like muscle car type thing.
Cool. Yeah. A good car. I think a good car is a valid response. Jala, what does Phil say?
Phil says, I was going to go with portal guns so I can place a portal at home and at work and not have to commute, but since that's been taken, a battle mech. No question. Try cutting me off now.
You'd just be stomping along them. Yeah. Is that a battle mech from a particular game? Are we talking Mech Warrior?
Yeah, I think battle mech, like, spelled that way and stuff like that. Like, I think that's Mech Warrior's TM or something.
Battle mech.
Which in that case, what would happen is, someone would cut you off, and at the moment where you tried to retaliate, your system would immediately overheat and,
right,
start melting down.
Yeah, those mechs are not necessarily very nimble. Let's see here. David writes, Hoi Poi capsules from the Dragon Ball games. The ability to transport large objects in a tiny capsule is a win. Never have to worry about finding a parking space or dealing with luggage at the airport ever again.
Or moving. I mean, hell. That'd be so easy.
I wouldn't have to dismantle my monster of a bed to get it out of this fucking apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to allow this. This could have been a cheat. I don't know if those Hoi Poi capsules are in the games. I think that he literally just tried to slip an anime in on us. Yeah.
No!
Thankfully, we have the anime police here.
That seems like a very abusable technology that the heroes never bothered to abuse.
Yeah. They never had to sneak somebody into a place, though. Although, I imagine if you threw one of those at a person, they would be crushed into dust. Yeah.
Or just, like fill it with knives and slip in the bad guy's food.
Oh, Jesus. Ben, what does Chase say?
Chase says, Ogma Infinum from Skyrim. Pick a few sets of skills and become instantly a little bit better at them. The fact that it comes from Lovecraftiest of Dradic princes doesn't hurt either. I realized today that I cannot pronounce names from Skyrim.
Ogma and
the Daedric princes, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's this item do? I kind of get the idea, but I
stat boost.
Yeah, okay. You can pick a especially in Skyrim since some stats and skill points. Oh wow, you look at this item go ahead.
I thought we had those in real life. We just called them steroids.
But you also have
those are select stats, David. This you can pick,
okay.
you can pick
As long as the stat is strength and agility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use Mentats.
Yeah. Oh, and this is like literally the image for this is a book that is bound in skin. So yes, Lovecraftian AF. David, what does Chris say?
Chris says, since I saw no rule against really big objects, I'd probably take the Normandy from Mass Effect 2. Why? It's a fucking spaceship.
Nothing in the rules says the Normandy can't play basketball.
Game, set, match.
I'm trying to think. Can you play basketball in the Normandy? Probably. Yeah.
Might break your fish tank, but
well, they always died because my assistant would not feed them. God damn it!
I just fed them too much.
Oh yeah, that is also bad.
Was that actually a thing?
Yeah, feed your fish. I don't know. I fed my fish a lot. I just assumed they died.
Yeah, you can buy fish and then you can either feed them or you can ask your assistant to feed them for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just up
so
in your
it's
room.
getting like straight up Life is Strange on you.
Yeah. Except I really hated that. I hated that I killed my plant in Life is Strange. Spoilers, I guess. Jala, what does Raghavan say?
Raghavan says, Phil Holmes just took it, but I cannot overstate the awesomeness of this. Definitely a mecha. Like Jehudi from Zone of the Enders or BT from Titanfall 2. Probably Jehudi. Want me some of that high-speed robot action. And why? Because it has something that is literally called the vector cannon that needs you to anchor your mech to the ground while it boots up this whole other OS for 10 whole seconds before firing off what is basically a portable Death Star. That and free parking.
Because nobody can stop you?
Yeah.
So I wonder, does that come with the sociopath AI?
God. Yeah, I was so disappointed by going back to Zone of the Enders. Those ships are cool though, especially like
really. Does it not age well? Because I remember it being awesome.
There's basically nothing to it. Is the problem? Yeah, there's the core of some pretty fun combat, but like the game is nothing. And everybody says, oh, play 2. I don't know how soon we're gonna do 2. Yeah. But yeah, like those are cool ships, and the cockpit is literally in the wang, so you got that going for you. Let's see. Franz says the blink rune from Dishonored. You know why? Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. I'm nodding. I'm nodding.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Nightcrawler Banff powers are all that I want ever.
Would you want the power where you can warp anywhere, but you have the ability to warp in the middle of a wall and die?
That's not in the game.
What's the alternative?
Like in Dishonored, you can only warp to what you can physically see.
Yeah, I'd be fine warping to what I can what I can see. Like that is okay.
I forget, in Dishonored, don't you also physically traverse the distance in between?
Only in 2, I believe.
Okay.
Only in 2 and only with Emily's power set.
Okay. Because I thought in 1, like, you can't blink through, like, the walls of light and stuff, right?
Right, but those are specifically designed against that.
They're visible walls.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Ben, what does Thomas say?
Thomas says, Lord Vessel from Dark Souls. I could attend literally any campsite or barbecue in the whole world.
Yeah, the ability to teleport into any fire. Well, not any fire, like a house fire.
Yeah. He could be Santa Claus.
Here I come to save the day. I have died. Yeah. Let's see. And you could also get through orange walls. David, what does Roop say?
Roop says, Gabriel, great. Blah, blah, blah.
I think Roop wanted to kill whoever was on the show who wasn't me who got this.
Yes. Gabriel Knight's Schattenjäger pendant. And my browser or Facebook hopefully informs me that Schattenjäger apparently translates to counterpart.
No. So this is kind of funny. The translate option translated pendant to counterpart, which is kind of strange. Whereas Schattenjäger is Shadow Hunter, like that. That's what he is. Like that's the order of fraternal knights that he belongs to in Gabriel Knight. Good. You biffed it, Facebook. I forget what the Schattenjäger pendant lets you do. Is the thing?
No idea.
Huh.
Although I would have really thought that you would have gone with Jeremy's answer.
Me personally?
Yes, you personally. This next one.
Oh, I haven't done mine yet.
Yes, I know, but you were talking about
the blink being all that I wanted.
Yeah.
I was short-sighted. Tell me what Jeremy says, Jala.
Jeremy says a grappling hook. See, any game with a grappling hook. No doubt terribly impractical and dangerous when applied to real life, but you only live and leave a small smear on the side of a building once.
So, question: would Zelda's double grappling hook still count as one object for this question?
If it's into one equipment slot, so yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
What is the advantage of a double grappling hook?
That you can do.
Does that even need to be stated?
That you can do multiple swings. I believe is the way that it goes. I feel like that's a Twilight Princess thing, right?
Yeah, it's on Twilight Princess. You can grapple from a spot that you can grapple to. You can double grapple. It's kind of like Tarzan, but he doesn't need vines in the way.
Yeah. It's like your Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I feel like of all of the games with grappling hooks, though, I think I'd have to go with probably the Just Cause version.
Well, yeah, where it's infinite and physics don't matter.
Yeah.
Do you get both the grappling hook and the parachute for this question?
I think so.
See, that's the thing. I believe that grappling hooks, for as attractive as they are in video games where you can try things over, in real life would be terrible because you have to have so many attendant things. It's like the portal gun, right?
Yeah.
See, I find it hilarious in Just Cause that you can do all this stuff, but yet the game, realistically, if you get in like a car crash on a motorcycle, you'll instantly die.
Motorcycles are dangerous, man.
Shrug. We're just trying. It's educational at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is weird that he can grapple straight into the ground and be fine. Like, it just stops right before hitting the ground.
Javier writes, I would go with the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts and hopefully all the different chains so I can change its look while unlocking doors. Has anybody here played Kingdom Hearts?
I played the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a good answer?
Yes, it's a good answer.
Okay, cool.
All right, good.
Yep.
We approve. You can stay.
Yep. Ben, what does Eric say?
Eric says, Portal Gun. Shoot.
Yep. You got swooped.
And that's my answer as well.
Yeah. David, what does Drew say?
Drew says, Sheikah Slate. Oh, wait. I have an iPhone already.
Yeah. That's your interface in Breath of the Wild.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Jala, what does Tanner say?
Tanner says, Agrippa's severed head from amnesia would make a lovely living room decoration. That's a very Tanner answer. Hi, Tanner.
Yeah. Oh, man, Amnesia's really good. I need to go back to that. Greg writes, I am sure I am too late, but I'd love to have the 4 orbs from Final Fantasy 1. Yeah, so you could unmake reality.
Do 4 orbs count as one item? Is it one item slot?
No, I think you have to pick a crystal, Greg.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Yeah. Ben, what does Jonathan say?
Jonathan says, Sonic's lightning bubble. I'm poor at the moment, and sucking up money is cool and necessary. Surely that's not stealing. Also, I don't want to deal with clients today. Fair.
Right.
So you will charge through them and shock them to death? And like watch with delight as the little animals run out from them? Yeah. See, that lightning bubble would probably come back to get you because it wouldn't just attract gold rings. You'd also be, like just all of the errant socks in the world would just rush to you. Yeah.
Are we talking Gold Toe?
Oh, God damn you, David. You've undone me. I can't believe you've done this. Okay, that was, okay, good. Good one, man. Anyway, David, what does Patrick say?
Patrick says, the super gravity gun from the end of Half-Life 2, because it could be pretty useful in daily life to just move around heavy shit, as well as for more grand designs, like robbing the global capitalist class. You think they make safe doors gravity gun proof?
No. Yeah, this might actually be my answer. Just because I had forgotten about it. This entire time I've been looking over at my game shelf to see if I could find a game that would have one. Absolutely the super gravity gun. Yeah.
I feel like the whole like randomly electrocuting people thing though would be kind of a downer.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. Yeah.
Would you take the super gravity gun over dog?
Yes.
Man.
I would prefer to have an extension of myself as opposed to a needy thing that I need to maintain with a personality. Like dog has a personality, and I don't know if I want to be responsible for that. And Jala ran us out with Michael.
I'm actually going to skip to Michael Pren because he's the one who asked the question.
Yes.
So he says, I think I'd like the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts. This, vote number 2. This nuclear MacGuffin has ridiculous powers, including shape-shifting, time travel, pseudo-sentience, and, of course, tremendous destructive power. In addition to all that, if you stab people with it, it can unlock their true selves, useful for revealing racist monsters masquerading as people.
See, the thing is, if you stab somebody with it, they're dead. So it's a little bit like trial by ordeal.
See, I feel like this is like a very like Dark Souls. It's like, well, that reveals their true selves because the truth of all humanity is death.
Oh, of course, yeah. The truth is that no matter what face we wear, we are all just machines of meat and bone.
So it's really going to bother me.
Sorry.
That's an even harder segue.
What is the UNSC Infinity?
Yeah, that was a previous response. I think that is from Halo.
Okay.
I think so as well, but I don't recognize the Infinity part, so that might be from a later game.
Yep, Halo, from the Halo Nation Wikia. Yeah, this is from, oh man, why are these Wikias? I can see the width of this thing, but not which game it comes from.
So, as I said, that was Michael Judge's answer.
Yeah. So my answer would be the super gravity gun. I think that would be far more practical than the portal gun.
You want to know what I want?
Yes.
I want the white dragon wings from Lunar, which allow you to fast travel to any place you've already been before. Mm-hmm. So that's a total life hack. Like if I go and visit you guys in Cincinnati, then suddenly I can warp there anytime I want to. That would be fucking badass.
You set up a node.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not like a portal gun where it's limited to the 2 portals. Like you can if you've been there, you're good.
Yeah. No, that is a good answer. Ben, how about you? Besides the portal gun. Okay, do you have a portal gun?
I wrote down a couple. So portal gun, if I did that, I would do something similar to what Phil was talking about and be able to have a 0 commute time to work. And the way I would do it is I would put a portal on my house, like on a door or something, so I could walk back to my house and then just open the door to cut it off one way, but then be able to go back to work instantly.
Oh, so people in your office wouldn't be, wouldn't be able to follow.
Exactly. But then some other ones I had, since somebody said that they would take a person's head for an item. I don't know if this would count as an object or not, but if I could get Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, then I would pick that, because then you can kind of go anywhere in a multiverse. Otherwise, anti-chamber gun would be cool. Somebody mentioned this, Paul mentioned this in the chat, but fairy in a bottle from Zelda would be really cool, because if you die, it just auto-resurrects you, unless a cruel, like, genie sort of thing. Maybe it just gives you...
You brought a shopping cart!
Wait, what?
Also,
you brought a
at
shopping
what
cart.
point...
You have like a whole list here. I said one, dude.
I'm so sorry. This will be the last one, though. But the one danger with the fairy in the bottle is it might just give you like 20 hearts, and that might not do anything for you, so that can be bad.
Just 20 physical hearts in your body.
Yeah.
Just cramming them in like they're trying to get past the TSA.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah,
So I've never realized before, like, with the whole fairy in the bottle thing, like, is Link a lich?
Is he killing the fairy in order to live again?
Oh, we just wrote a webcomic. Not to denigrate webcomics. We just wrote a video game webcomic. Jeez.
Time to make a side site.
David, how about you?
Sure. I think I would probably go with maybe like the cybernetics from Human Revolution. And like in particular, because I feel like that's a little boring. Like if I had to just pick something just straight up for fun, it would be specifically like the instant shades cybernetics. Other than that, I'm also kind of enamored with first aid spray from Resident Evil.
Oh yeah,
like just figure out how it works.
Yeah. If I could just like have an infinite supply of just this like wonder spray that like can solve anything from like exotic diseases to gunshot wounds.
Yeah, and that gets even weirder in Resident Evil 7. Actually, it becomes a liquid that you splash on your hand.
Yeah.
It's like
well, and like
aftershave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do they ever at all explain the whole like herbs thing? Like why there are apparently only like 4 plants in the world, and how every single one of your characters is apparently like a part-time botanist?
It's a thinly veiled metaphor for medical marijuana.
Like down to having green crumbles on a white piece of paper. Yeah, it's so there are more than 4 plants because there are trees and grass and shit. These are the 4 plants that are grown and cultivated specifically for medical purposes. I think that for the individual characters, it is justified because they are people with a certain amount of survival training. At least in the first game, they are people who are part of a special forces-esque kind of thing. Yeah, I think that they're just preternaturally strong plants that Umbrella has figured out how to harness in order to make the first aid sprays.
All right, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna start picking Resident Evil apart, I wouldn't start there.
There's a lot of
like I
points.
said, magic effing zombies.
So thank you everybody for writing in. I'm sorry we didn't get to your response, but we're running a little bit long tonight, and I have miles to go before I sleep, so I will own this. If you want to participate in the future, watch for the prompts to go up on Tuesday afternoons at facebook.com/thelevelpodcast. Those go up courtesy of either Jala or Dennis. This time it was Jala. Thank you. And also thank you, Michael, for suggesting the question. That was a good and fun one.
The grind.
Now it is time for the grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. Jala, you've been away the longest, so I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh boy. Well, okay, so first off, in my co-op corner, I played Guild Wars 2 because Super Adventure Box was up again, so I played the first level with Greg and Conrad. And that is, as always, fun. They are slowly but surely releasing all of the different levels for that, so over the years, it's becoming a full 8-bit looking adventure, so it's pretty cool. I had hoped to go a little bit farther in there, but I got sick, so, then I was bedridden, so whatever. As a result, though, I played a lot of other stuff. I played The Room 3. I played it all the way through and finished it. What is there to say about it? It's another room game. I still don't know what the fuck is going on. I still don't know why there's a tentacle monster. The tentacle monster doesn't come back. Suddenly, the guy that you're following around, like in the first couple of games that you only know as AS, and he's like leaving notes and stuff in places. I don't know what the fuck happened to him, but now there's some other guy that wants you to be his apprentice and is testing you. And I have never met him either, so I don't know what that's about. And apparently there's some kind of multiple endings to this, although I don't know how you get them, and I'm never going to see the rest of those endings because I'm not going to play it again.
Right.
YouTube.
There's another one being developed currently. I was chatting with Cliff from Dark Insight podcast about it, and he had played a little bit of it and chatted with the devs at Rezzed, which is a gaming event. So if you're a fan of the Room games, you can hear about that on Dark Insight episode number 53. I remain unconvinced, however, that there is any kind of cohesive storyline, but if anybody cares to explain it to me, please ping me at Jala-chan and tell me all about it, because I don't know what the hell's going on. So that's what I have to say about the Room. I mean, like, the puzzles, they're fine. It's fine. It plays fine. It's just, it's a thing. So, all right. That's all I have to say about the Room 3.
Yeah, I mean, just that series just seems to be like atmosphere and some kind of interesting things to do with your hands. Is that accurate?
Why do they bother with the notes? It makes me so mad. Like, don't even lean into that narrative and do something with it, or don't fucking throw it in at all.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Who is that for? Yeah.
Really? So, and the tentacle monster. I don't. Whatever. Anyway, so the next game that I played a little bit of is Road Not Taken. I picked it up and played it for a few hours, and I set it down again, basically because I started a JRPG, which I'll talk about in a minute. Mm-hmm. It was on sale on iOS for 99 cents, so I picked it up. But it was also on PS4 and Steam, so, I mean, you can get it in places. It's basically a roguelike puzzle game where you play a ranger who rescues children that have been lost in a winter storm in the forest. And it also has RPG elements because you can befriend people in the town and start up a romance and give people stuff. I don't know. It has a cute, simple, hand-drawn kind of chibi aesthetic to it. The forest part is the puzzle part where you basically have to match up objects to open pathways deeper into the forest, and you have to manage your resources because you only have so much energy, and when you run out, you die. And basically, there are enemies that take your energy, and like every time you pick up objects and walk around while carrying them, depending upon how many objects you have and how heavy they are, they take a certain amount of energy. If there is
Snake Eater.
And if you go to a section of the forest where there's a lot of like sleet and snow and stuff going on, like blowing around, it'll take energy every time you move, regardless of what you're doing. So, like energy, gets sapped pretty quick. But there's other characters that are living in the forest. There's immobile objects, non-violent creatures that just happen to block the way. Depending on combinations of items and creatures that you line up, you can create new objects and creatures. Like I threw a ghost into a fire and then it changed into some item, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever, cool. So the core mechanic of the puzzle section is basically this telekinesis that you lift up objects and can toss them in the cardinal directions around you. The difficulty ramps up pretty sharply, though. Like, every level is a year, and I stopped at year 6 after dying a couple of times, because, like, I was doing good. Whoa, what the fuck? So, so I will probably go back and keep playing it, because I'm burned out of the JRPG I've been playing, which I'll talk about now, unless you guys have questions. Road Not Taken.
I would just like to point out that now makes 2 Robert Frost references this episode.
What was the first one?
Miles to Go Before You Sleep.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Huh. I mean, I would say Robert Frost is okay. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
He's fine. Yeah, no, this is a game that I have seen featured on a lot of like storefronts, both on iOS and on PSN. And my eyes just kind of glaze over it because the art makes it look a little bit like it's trying to be Journey. At least their hero art for it. Looking at the actual gameplay and hearing you talk about it, it sounds more like a good snowman is hard to build, or like a Sokoban Alexander kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is the I'm sorry if you said this and I was looking at the video and not grasping it. Like, what is the ultimate goal of each individual level? Because I see a lot of moving ghosts around.
rescuing children who are lost in the forest and reuniting them with their mothers.
Okay. Yeah.
You can throw the mothers at the child or vice versa.
Yep. So quite literally, reuniting with extreme prejudice.
Yes. Yep.
Reunited and there's so much blood. Let's see here. No, and that's it. I don't have a third one.
No.
So.
No. So, anyway, so the last thing that I've been playing. All right, now Kole.
Okay, so this is not a fucking game that I recommended to you. This is a game that I have said generally nice things about, but I haven't played during the run of the show. I have not played as much of it to actually give an in-depth thing. Besides, oh yeah, that's a neat game.
So I put in 40 hours, and I'll explain.
Okay, so you put 40. Jala, eventually this becomes your fault.
Yes. My fault, but okay, so it became my sickness's fault. I probably would have dropped it before then, but I was zoned out in bed and dying. So it was given to me by Brian Wade, so thank you, Brian. I guess I can actually blame him for this.
Okay.
Because I played it if he didn't give it to me, because I wouldn't go buy it. But so last time I was on, I mentioned a bit of Shin Megami Tensei news, and you used that negatively connotated word about it, Kole, and I figured I'd fucking play one of the games to legitimize my news article as if I needed that.
I used what negatively connotated word?
Pandering! JRPG? You were telling me I was pandering.
Oh,
because I was talking.
Oh, yeah, no. That was a joke.
I'm teaching about it right now.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway. So, all right. My disclaimer: I have not flipped any tables about this game, and the game is fine for what it is. But I realized in finally playing a JRPG again why I haven't played one in forever.
Yeah. And some of your favorite games ever are JRPGs, things like Azure Dreams, or that's more of a strategy thing, but like Lunar or Shining Force, right?
Yeah. Well, Shining Force still is also that's not a grindy one. That's just like strategy RPG. So anyway, so Persona 4 Golden. Story-wise, you're a high school kid who's moved from the city to a small town, and you are living with your uncle, who is a detective and a single father, and his little daughter, who eventually looks up to you like an older brother. And right after you move there, suddenly there are murders happening, and all this weird shit starts to happen. And then sometime you somehow end up going into a TV, and there's a thing called a Midnight Channel, which is originally marketed to you by your classmates as, watch the TV at midnight on a rainy night and you'll see the person you're destined to be with. But actually, the person who's in the TV is the person who's going to die soon, who was put in there by the killer.
Those could be the same.
Yeah, it could be the saddest, shortest love story.
So anyway, there's a weird mascot character inside the TV named Teddy, who, tells you that people are being thrown into the TV from your world, and you are trying to figure out who's doing it and why. And eventually Teddy turns into a fucking human being. It's like, at that point I was just like so face palming. I was face palming so hard. I'm like, of course he turns into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy who starts spouting French and wears a really laced collared shirt with like a rose on it. Because it basically this mascot character looks like it's a big fluffy round bear looking thing, and then the way that they produce this human out of this is literally he pops over to the real world, he jumps out of the TV, like follows you out one day, and then he like unzips his head, and then he has a naked man inside. And then they have a whole anime cutscene for that. So
it's like the Terminator approach to introducing characters.
basically correct.
He was wearing clothes, like the suit was his clothes.
Yeah, the suit was clothes, basically. So, yeah. So you find out that for no particular reason you have a kind of alter ego called a persona, which you can summon that does magic tricks and helps you kill shadows, which are bad things inside the TV that eat people. And then you save a kid, and then you start making a habit of it, and then you just kind of like all the kids that go in the TV that you save basically confront the parts of their subconscious that they don't want to admit to. So it's like a big flashy therapy session, and then all of your therapy session graduates basically become your party members and part of your investigation team, and they're all whatever. So you're basically a fucking fancy pants pseudo psychotherapist, and all characters have main character syndrome and want your ass. So you're really like, fuck me Freud.
Yeah.
Like
fuck me Freud.
Wait. So let's review for a second.
Okay. Everything so far has been the best. Okay. Continue.
You have disturbed children that you are helping with their problems, which ultimately involves recruiting them to your paramilitary group, and maybe having them throw themselves at you. So basically, you're a cult leader.
I would go more with a big boss kind of scenario.
I thought
so like
that
a cult leader.
So the main plot basically revolves around your attempts at figuring out what the hell is going on and who's throwing people into TV and why. And you have glasses in the TV for some reason. This game is kind of trying too hard to be flashy and justify its flashy bits. So maybe it's Flash Me Freud. So, I mean, the glasses allegedly clear up the fog or whatever, so you can see clearly in the TV world. But they just wanted everybody to have glasses. Why did they have to go?
So someone saw They Live.
I guess.
Kind of. They just want an excuse to be like crazy, over the top, and stylish. So it's super weird that I'm the person coming out in defense of how anime this is. I'm not comfortable with this turn of events, I've got to say. I don't know. There's something about the way that it's presented that makes it really work for me. I understand that I'm not on trial right here. The game is, but
those don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, like there are a variety of systems in play, which I'll kind of talk about a little bit, just because it's not all like old RPGs. The last time I dusted off a JRPG and played one. So there's basically a daily life simulator where you have stats that affect your capacity to do things like take tests and speak your mind to people, knowledge, courage, diligence, and so on, and you can train those up by doing different types of part-time jobs, going to clubs, answering questions in class correctly, or studying or something. There's social links that you form bonds with people in your party, as well as random NPCs, which have, I guess, some kind of a plot significance to them.
Yeah.
And represent different arcana, like from Tarot, except this game makes up some shit, and there are arcana that are not actually in the Tarot for whatever reason, and I don't know why. And so... like in strengthening your bond with, for example, Yosuke, who represents the magician arcana, you can grant buffs when you fuse persona together to make I cannot speak, magician persona. Mm-hmm. So
wait, persona are people and you're fusing them together?
It's like Dragon Ball. No, like the persona are like demons that you recruit and then bind to your like cosmic essence.
Yeah, I guess, but like you are the only one who has the ability to have a bunch of them. All the other people have one. Right. So I don't know what that's about. Apparently, there's some.
You are Legion.
Yeah, apparently there is some reason for that is explained sometime very, very long down this, the storyline somewhere, but I don't know. Anyway, there's also a dungeon mode, which I'll complain about later, but random battles and boss fights and stuff. Right. And there's the whole crafting system, persona crafting system. Mm-hmm. So you cannibalize all of your persona and fuse them together to make new ones. There's skill cards that you win in battle that you can assign, particular abilities to different characters. You're basically always merging persona around, so you don't really stick with one for very long. It's just basically equipment.
Right.
So
it's like Guardian Forces in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah. So that's a thing. So I'll grump a little bit now. The tutorial is 3 fucking hours long. It holds your hand and puts you on autopilot for the first 3 full hours of the game, which was tedious as fuck. I mean, it was just like there were no options. You were just reading the story and watching it forever.
Yeah.
The voice acting at the beginning is horrible, but thankfully it improves and it gets better after that. Like at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh my god, guys, I don't know if I can do this. It thankfully got better, so at least that's good.
I forget, does Golden give you the ability to do Japanese voice English text?
No,
bummer.
Yeah, I would have switched to it. The dungeons are basically PS2 era randomly generated featureless POSs that are full of meaningless grinding, which is one of the things that I hate most. I used to have a tolerance for that kind of thing, but that tolerance apparently shifted from JRPG battles to like physically running places for hours at a time. Yeah. Because like I don't have the patience for that I used to anymore. I really don't. So yeah, that is basically the biggest problem for me, because if I'm not having fun during the hours of grinding required to progress through the game, I'm just not going to play it anymore. And that's basically the reason why I'm stopping now.
Right.
So I lasted 40 hours, but
that's only like halfway through a mainline play of those.
Yeah. So, for anybody who knows the game, I stopped at the Void Dungeon. I am literally sitting at the boss, and I recognize that I have been beaten a couple of times, and I need to go back and grind it. I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
So that's it. Anyway, another problem. Here's another reason. Like I might have ground through, except my interest in all of the characters, and I mean every single character, has been on a bell curve where I don't care, then I care about as much as I'm going to care, and then I don't care at all. Right now, there's not one character that I give a crap about, so that's a problem. Yeah. And between the lyrical music during the battles and the opening animation and the whole flashy persona summons all throughout the battles and the costume changes and whatever, I feel like this was meant to basically appeal to 13-year-old Jala. And if I were 13, I would have totally gotten into this. But at my age, I'm just like, I feel mildly embarrassed because this is some Sentai shit. This is ridiculous.
It's a matter of, I mean, like, so we talked about this before. We joked about you have the antibodies.
Yeah.
Whereas I, a person who have never really been exposed to that, like immediately like reject it, whatever. But for some of it, like I just like it hits right there, and like I don't understand that particular thing is like played out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I can understand where somebody else could like it, but just for me, like it was the things that I'm exposed to in my particular time on this earth is such that like I'm just not. Yeah, so I'll say a few nice things.
Okay.
I don't want to be complainy about it. So I like the complexity of the various systems that you need to manage and the daily life simulator, because since playing this game, I have laughed about how pertinent juggling 100 million different stat bars is to my actual life. So because I do so many different types of things, and when it's been raining, I've had an immediate trigger in my brain as if there's something specific I need to do on rainy days in my real life. Because in the game, like on rainy days, there's special bonuses to like studying and eating at this particular restaurant, and for time limits related to going into the dungeons and finishing stuff. So it's weird that it's integrated that way into the way that I narrate my life in my head when I go about my day. So
it's super bizarre the way that happens, because I definitely get into a headspace when I'm playing something like a Sims or an Animal Crossing, or right now playing Yakuza. That is kind of infest in the way that I think about the variety of things around me in a way that like Shenmue did, which is, and that makes a good deal of sense. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
Yeah. So another thing is that although I don't care about any of the characters anymore, when they have interested me, they were really interesting and really charming, and I liked them a lot, except for Marie, who I want to stab in the eye. She's the only character that I can't stand. Like I absolutely can't stand. There's usually one.
Is Marie the rich girl?
She's the added character that is like just in the Velvet Room.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. She's just irritating, a little snot-nosed punk. Anyway, so some of the persona designs are pretty neat, and seeing the shadow selves related to the kidnapping people's unconscious mind, that's pretty cool too. Overall, if I could tolerate the grindiness, then like I would continue playing it and finish it, but I played 40 hours of it. I got nothing right now. I don't know.
You gave it more than enough time.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe I'll pick it up again later, but I just, like, it wasn't that I flipped a table. I just got bored.
By the way,
I'm done.
Can we start a new video game rating scale where it's like an inverse scale of how many tables you flip when you play?
This is 5 tables. Oh, that must be great. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I mean, like, I can see, like I said, I can see where people like these games and, enjoy them as what they are, but it's just like the genre is hard for me to get into right now.
Yeah.
Basically, if it wasn't portable, I wouldn't have played it at all. So, because like if I couldn't have played it like in bed when I was sick, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that much time in.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I played a fair amount of this when I was on PS2, like on a checkout from GameStop. I've gotten into it on portable in a big way. Like, I think a lot of people did. Like, people cite Persona 4 Golden as like a really good reason to own a PS Vita, which I can see. For me, it has been kind of a blessing to be able to just like have this thing that I can maybe pick up, for like a little bit of time, every couple of days, maybe, like as I feel, as I feel up to it. And it's just not, like I never burned myself out on it. So like much the same way you never would have started this, if it wasn't portable, I never would have continued it if it wasn't portable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not out of the realm of question, like realm of possibility that I could go back to it, but I need a break. Yeah. Of course, the problem is that after I drop a game, the chances that I'm going to go back to it are pretty low.
Yeah.
Like, because there's always something new on the horizon, and I've got plenty of other games I can play. So
yeah,
especially if it has like a dense control scheme too, it's kind of hard to get back into that.
Yeah, or just like a tremendous number of systems that like this game has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think that nobody would blame you for not digging the style, because it is a game that very much leads with the style, and that is just a matter of taste and tolerance, neither of which are really debatable. And also, like, grinding or being sick of grinding in a JRPG is a totally reasonable stance. Like,
yeah. Well, honestly, to be fair, like when I was talking about it in the Level Slack channel, some of the people were like, man, if you're already not digging it at whatever, place I was at before, then you might as well drop now. And I was like, well, I want to just see how far into this game I will go and how far my tolerance, where is my tolerance level for this, for the, the grinding and the whatever. And, I was kind of hoping that like, something in the story or the characters would pick back up again and really interest me, because if they did, I probably would still be playing it. But, like it just kind of like, I lost interest in all of it overall. Like if the story had carried on, gotten really, really cool, like I bet if I were to finish the Void Dungeon, there was something after that that's really cool, and somebody's going to ping me after this comes out.
That's always tells me, though. Like, it's like again, it's one of those weird little subsets of like, oh, you forgot. Yeah. Like, oh, if you just held that for like a minute, there was this, and then like in reality, that probably would have been like, oh, that's neat. You would have, smiled out loud probably, and then it wouldn't have been enough to get you through the next dungeon until the next person came in and said, oh man, just a little bit further.
Yeah.
Like, and if you follow that, what it will result in is just you limping, just keeping on limping through the game. You have to make the call for yourself.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, well, I think I'm done for now. It's kind of like, I want to finish Steins Gate. I was interested in that story, but like the mechanics of it, I don't know if I want to finish it, but I don't know if I'm going to.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Huh. Well,
that's it.
Yeah. Well, sorry you didn't have a good time with that. I can totally see. Like you make good points about it. Yeah.
I mean, it was all right. I complained some, but it was all right. I didn't get mad at it. I just got bored.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I've got one. Are you finished, Jala?
I am done.
Yeah. Okay. I've got one that it's going to be very short because there generally isn't that much to say about it. But I picked up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. I got it when I was home over the weekend, so I could take it on the trip and play it with Chris, but he was not interested in playing it, so I ended up playing Mario Kart alone. So
as it was meant to be played.
Yes. No other way. Yeah, Final Destination, no items, just by yourself. No, so this is a fun game. I played it a fair amount on Wii U, but never as much as I really wanted to. Getting it on the Switch feels like again, it just feels right to have a Mario Kart game on a new it just feels good to have a Mario Kart game on a Nintendo system. It's still very much the same. They haven't added a tremendous amount of stuff in terms of courses that I've noticed, although I could be wrong about that. The one thing that I think is interesting about it is that everything is unlocked from the start, except for one character who is just unlocked by getting a certain number of coins.
So Nintendo's now adopting like a pay-to-play, like they'll have a deluxe version of a game that unlocks everything.
Maybe, I don't know. I think that they are adopting a sensible version of this because finishing races to unlock the racer that you want is kind of bullshit. So yeah, like let me pick the course that I want to play. Let me, I want to race as the shy guy, so I will race as the shy guy. It just makes sense. And
I think it's well intentioned, but it has a lot of pitfalls.
Oh, go into that. I'm curious.
I think it's a cool idea to slowly roll out the carpet of all the things you have. Like they did that with the 1-2 Switch as well, where once you start playing a few games, it'll unlock everything. But yeah, if you've already played the game, say on another person's console or something, and you're buying this specifically for a party night or something, that totally sucks.
Yeah,
because everything's kind of locked behind a wall. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if maybe they had some sort of password system or something where you could unlock everything, given that you've done it once in the first place.
Yeah, do like a Rock Band thing. It makes sense that this is this is just an HD remake, for lack of a better word, of an existing game. So a lot of people who are buying this would have already played and unlocked this stuff before. In this product, it makes a good deal of sense. I can see what you're saying though, giving a sense of progression, a sense of reward for going after this stuff, beyond just kind of the intrinsic reward of playing a race and doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
Ranking first or getting the gold cups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Haven't played online yet because Nintendo's online experience is a fucking nightmare. I want to figure out how to do that so I can play Puyo Puyo Tetris and Mario Kart with people. So when I have literally a moment to think, I will try and do that. But yeah, it is a good and fun Mario Kart game. The big thing that Mario Kart 8 introduced doesn't seem like that big of a deal, which is the ability to or was this in 7? God, I always forget. Was it 7 that introduced the hang gliders, or was it 7 that introduced driving on vertical and horizontal surfaces or upside down surfaces?
I think when was the last one I played?
What's that?
I don't remember either of those.
7 was the one for 3DS, and then 8 was the one for Wii U. Regardless, so you can, if you're flying through the air for a long enough amount of time, your cart turns into a glider, and you can kind of change your trajectory to get certain pickups that are laid out in the air. And also, you can drive along walls or upside down. And this kind of changes the possibility space for certain track designs and stuff. So you get these weird little Mobius strip kind of things. It's a little bit F-Zero-y actually, which is good. Not as technically demanding as F-Zero because it's still Mario Kart. But yeah, that is good and fun. It looks fucking amazing on the Switch's screen. I am continuously just kind of astonished by how good stuff looks on the Switch itself.
The handheld screen or the screen the TV?
Oh no, this the handheld screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah. On the TV, it doesn't look that different than the Wii U one. I'm sure there's some kind of Digital Foundry kind of comparison that has been done to show exactly what is different between them. But when you're looking at it, it's just kind of astonishing to see a Mario Kart game that looks that good on a handheld like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mario Kart continues to be Mario Kart. Just like Tetris continued to be Tetris.
So Which game was it where they added like motorcycles and stuff?
That was the Wii one. That was it was just Mario Kart Wii.
Okay, so it doesn't get a number?
No.
Okay.
They only got numbers when they went to 3DS, which was very confusing.
And there's been 8 of them on the 3DS?
No. It was just like, hey, here's Super Mario Kart, then Mario Kart 64, and then just all of a sudden they said, hey, this is the 7th one, and I never checked their math. Like, I don't know if they're lying to me. Yeah. Any questions about that? Okay, that's all I've been playing. David, what you got?
I really have very little. Been continuing to grind out on Warframe. Nothing really new to report. Mm-hmm. I did get a little bit farther into Orcs Must Die Unchained.
Okay.
I don't know. It's very difficult. Like I'm finding myself failing a lot of matches, and I'm on like the easiest difficulty setting, stuff like that. In particular, one of the enemies are kobolds, which basically
they're
just
fast.
Ignore you and run super fast and can run through most of your traps before they activate.
Yep.
And particularly annoying is you can't, in multiplayer mode, you can't like unplace other people's traps, which is annoying because like one of the levels, basically one of the lanes is almost exclusively kobolds, and I've had matches where people have gone in and like used up all the space for traps that the kobolds are too fast for. So that's actually been my other big finding from the game, is just the community seems kind of like crap. Like I know, like I very rarely have trouble with like pickup groups, but I've several times just had like pretty asinine people.
Is some of that difficulty a result, or does it cater to the free-to-play nature of this installment?
See, I can't quite tell, because like it feels like I'm underpowered, stuff like that, except that none of the things I could pay for like seem like they would help. So I'm not sure. I think some of it, like the biggest problem I'm having is it feels like I just for a lot of the characters you just don't have the DPS to take down the enemies you need before they can get all the way through your maze. So I'm not sure yet. So other than that, I've found that I've been using the barricades a lot because good walls make good neighbors, mainly so that we can have a third Robert Frost reference. And that's about it.
Nice. Do you have anything that you have your eye on in terms of stuff that is not Warframe or this, that you're just kind of like champing at the bit but can't play because of time? Or I'm just curious if you're just like in a like a lull of enthusiasm for new stuff.
Sure. I mean, part of it is like where I'm at right now is like something grindy is like very much my ideal thing, which is why I'm playing so much Warframe, because I can just like get on for an hour and like kill some dudes.
It's also,
I wish I could just hand you my Persona 4 so you can just level me up and then hand it back.
Just get me to the final cutscene. That's fine. Atlus won't let the people post it, so I can't watch it. So
right. So I don't know. I'm debating. I'm really debating jumping into maybe Hollow Knight looks pretty cool, and the new River City whatever. Looks pretty cool. So probably one of those are gonna be next-ish, but we'll see.
Gotta keep on forgetting about that fucking River City game.
Yeah, I've kind of been surprised that I just haven't heard much, much hype about it one way or the other. Also, apparently Darkest Dungeon has the DLC.
That's news to me.
Yeah, I may or may not.
Do you know anything about that?
Apparently vampires.
Is that something that they rolled into the main game as a patch, or is that like a separate thing that you would buy and plug in?
Let's see.
Let's figure this out in real time.
Yeah, let's Google this on the air.
Apparently, it is not actually out yet. It has a official release date on Steam of when it's ready.
Oh,
nice.
But yeah, it looks like your characters can become vampires, and then sort of like the like the collector from the original game, you then get a random chance of encountering a vampire hunter boss.
Nice. Huh. Ben, I'm curious what you've been playing.
All right, we're gonna make it a short episode this week. I've only played a little bit of PlayerNone's Battleground some more. One thing that I found out is after you play successive games, they have this thing that's kind of like a loot crate sort of thing where you basically get experience, use that to open up random chests, and that'll give you armor or like things to equip your person with as you enter the battlefield. So things like clothes. I don't know how high it goes, so I don't know if you start getting like bulletproof vests and helmets and stuff like that. Because normally you have to scavenge buildings for those sorts of things. So that'll definitely be neat if it eventually like levels you up so that you start with guns, so you can actually like hit the ground running. But yeah, that's kind of cool. And I played online. I played a doubles match, and that definitely added a lot more interesting tactics to it. So if you get shot, you are like kind of like on standby, where your partner can heal you. But the one game that we played of it, we both got killed very quickly together, so we did not have a chance to use that. So
yeah. This game, PlayerNone's Battleground, just in case people don't remember that from last time. That's the Arma style multiplayer game that it's like a contracting King of the Hill kind of deal. Yeah,
it's Battle Royale with a tight time limit.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of interesting. And then, of course, I've been playing more Rocket League, but those are about the only two things I've had. Most of my time was spent in Cincinnati this week.
Oh, yeah.
So I did play some board games. I don't know how relevant that is or not, but I played a game called Hanabi and a game called Codenames, but they're both kind of cooperative / competitive games.
I know Codenames, and I know that Codenames is very good. What is Hanabi?
Hanabi is this weird game. Have you the idea behind like Indian poker, where you have a deck of cards, but you're not looking at them. You hold them outwards so everyone else can see what everyone else has.
No, I've never heard of this before.
That's like a thing. There's some card games where you put like a card on your forehead and you can you can see what other people have, that sort of thing. So this is kind of a game like that where you have you're trying to make a fireworks display, but the way you go about doing that is you hold out cards and they'll have a color of a firework and it'll have a number 1 through 5.
Okay.
There's only 1 5 of each color in each deck, and then there's like 2 for 2, 3, 4, and there's 3 1s. And on your turn, you can either give another player a hint as to what they have, and a hint's either telling them all the cards of a single color in their hand or all the cards of a single number in their hand. So it'd be like, these 3 cards are 1s, or these 2 cards are blues, that sort of thing. So that's one option of what you can do on your turn. Another option of what you can do is... So
it's like Mastermind almost, right?
Yeah, kind of like that. The other option of what you can do is you can play a card, and that's where you just turn it face up, and if it can play on the board, it'll play. If it can't, then you kind of lose like a hit point, so to say, and you have like 5 hit points before everyone loses the game. And so valid play is you can put down a 1 of any color, and then after that's played, you have to play a 2 of that color and build up to a 5.
Yeah.
So and then the last action you can do is you can discard a card in order to get a hint. Like there's only a finite number of hints you can give. So you have to start discarding cards in order to regain the ability for other people to give hints.
Okay.
So yeah. It's just like a fun game. I think Codenames might be a better game because Codenames is pretty amazing.
Yeah, Codenames is like revered. Like that is god tier in terms of like board games I've heard people talk about kindly.
Yeah, it's games that I don't think I appreciated as much the first time, a few times I played it. But I think the thing that I really like it is you can get non-board game people to play Codenames and be good at it and enjoy it. So I like that aspect of it a lot.
That's cool.
To answer the same question of what I might be looking forward to in the near future, Prey comes out this Friday.
Oh Jesus, yeah, Prey is already out by the time. Yeah, that is a game that
It might be cool. I don't know much about it, but that's a big game that's coming out. I know.
Chris Avalon, Ventcrawler, man.
To the old pseudo-racist one.
Oh, the one where you play as the Native American in space.
Yeah.
Only a name.
Okay, but like it is the same like intellectual property or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a reboot.
I believe so. It's like a different team making it there, right? It's the team that made Dishonored who's making it, right?
Yeah, it's Arcane.
Yeah.
Oh.
Other games that are coming out end of this month. Friday the 13th, the game is coming out, which is
dang, yeah.
Almost as far away from Halloween as you can get, which is an interesting twist. But
Kickstarter delays, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That should be cool. Yeah. And then
wait, when is the next Friday the 13th? Like actual Friday the 13th? I feel like this could be a mixed opportunity.
Saturday the 13th this month.
They're okay. The next Saturday, October the 13th. Yeah, as we all consult our calendars.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and then same day, Friday the 13th is coming out. Not on Friday the 13th, but May the 27th, double the 13th. Rime is also coming out that day too, which looks pretty cool because it looks like a nice combination of Shadow of the Colossus and The Witness, kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, there's tons of good stuff. This is a bad year for everything and a great year for games. Yeah. Something that maybe so this doesn't help you, Ben, because it doesn't you already own this game. But there's a Humble Bundle that was just announced today that has Steven Sausage Roll at the top tier for like $10, along with a bunch of others. I think like the theme of it is like maybe cult games that have very positive ratings on Steam is like the conceit for this. But like getting Steven Sausage Roll for $10 seems like a steal compared to the normal 30. So I may pick this up, and other people may be interested in this.
I don't at all mean this to be negative, but it's funny because like the biggest thing I learned from the Humble Bundles is the degree to which I am not the target market for indie games.
Well, it's still a lesson.
You're not trying to roll sausages, dude?
I don't like puzzle games.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, we've been busy, and I have more busyness to get to. So, how do you all feel about buttoning it up?
We can button it up as long as you tell me when you're streaming Steven Sausage Roll.
Oh, God, I don't want people to know how dumb I am.
Just don't tell anyone else about it. I just want to watch it myself.
Oh, God. I would need to set it up as like a private thing. I
drink heavily beforehand. That'll be fine.
That'll be my spoke screen. My spoke screen. Yeah, we'll talk. I really don't want people to know how dumb I am. Hey, Jala, can you say a button so we can go to the credits?
I did say buttons.
Say it again.
Ben talked over me.
I said buttons last week, Jala.
Yeah,
I know.
He kept it going. I just
thank you.
Jala, we can't finish. I can't finish. Do it again. Okay, there we go. The credit. Thank you so much for listening to The Level number 195. Related to network business, as we mentioned at the beginning, head on over to Watch Out for Fireballs and listen to that announcement that we just made. There's also a post on Duckfeed.tv where you can click a banner and see that. There's a survey kind of attached to that asked for kind of a little bit of information and kind of opinion and honestly some ideas about how to do some of these smaller things. We're actually running a contest on that. So if you fill out the survey and put your email address in there, you get a chance to win. We're giving out 3 $20 Steam gift cards. It's not much, but $20 goes a long way on Steam. So just consider that a little bit of a pot sweetener. Anything you can tell us would actually really help out in terms of figuring out how to implement this, because like we're announcing it in May. Some of the changes are rolling out in June. A big one is rolling out in July, and a massive one is rolling out in August. So like this is a massive ongoing thing that is going to be pretty complicated. We want to know what you think. So consider doing that. Otherwise, for this show, it's been a little bit since we've gotten a rating or review. So if you listen and you haven't done so, consider heading over to Apple Podcasts, formerly iTunes, and letting us know what you think, or letting other people know what you think. That is the big part. Yeah, and also tell friends. Am I forgetting anything?
No.
Okay. So I have been Cole Ross at Cole Ross on Twitter.
I've been David Moneysmith at Moneysmith777 on the Twitter.
I'm always Jala-chan in places.
Merkelizer on Twitter, also named Ben.
also named Ben? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, they said also New Ben. And I was like, ooh, what does New Ben entail?
Yeah, New Ben's my new Twitter account.
New Ben. He tweets every 6 minutes as opposed to every 6 months. Somebody write a script for that. Anyway, stick around for some titles. Okay, who has a title?
I have a couple.
Jala, you spoke first. Go.
Flavors of Fenestration. Is chess boxing a thing? Possible is not optimal. Slip an anime in.
Okay.
Reunited and there's so much blood. You said another Reunited one, and I don't remember what it was because I couldn't write it down. Okay,
Reunited,
I wanted
with Extreme Prejudice.
Yeah, I've got that as well.
Yeah, that I would have written that down also, so you can count that as a vote.
Yeah, if I didn't say the other one immediately afterward. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that like my head only could retain so much, and I was like talking about a thing, and I didn't want to try to type and then get all screwed up.
Oh, no,
anyway, and then Flash Me Freud, because we can't do Fuck Me Freud, because that would be really funny, but cursing. So
yeah, is that all?
That's all.
Okay, David.
Okay, I had Reuniting with Extreme Prejudice.
Okay.
The suit was his clothes. So like a cult leader. Flash Me Freud. This some Sentai shit. And buttons.
Okay. Ben?
I have Redefenestration. I have World War II as a hard segue. I have Robert Frost is fine. I have Reunited and there's so much blood. And I have Smiled Out Loud.
Okay. Smiled Out Loud. Gotcha. Okay. So the ones that have multiple votes are Reunited with Extreme Prejudice with 3. Reunited and There's So Much Blood with 2, and Flash Me Freud with 1. Robert Frost is fine is really funny to me, but that didn't get a lot of votes. So we have two options here. We can go with Reunited with Extreme Prejudice, which has the most votes, or we can, if somebody wants to make a case for one or the other.
That's fine.
Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Wait, which one did we actually decide on?
Oh,
you presented two options and Jala said that's fine.
I think Jala was saying that's fine to Reunited with Extreme Prejudice.
Yes, okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Is everybody okay? And nobody has a strong feeling?
I do not have a strong feeling.
Okay. David?
No, I'm cool.
All right, let's go with it. Cool. Well, I need to go and read about 150 pages of a book.
What book?
Well, I need to go. I need to go to sleep because I gotta go practice belly dancing.
Yeah,
I'm sick and
no, you're
got stuff to do.
Don't. I defer. I defer to you on that.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
I say good night.